Hey guys, Josh here. So obviously I should not be here because I'm on break or whatever have you, but this was just way too good to even pass up by any means. Mostly for me personally, because before I went on break and everything, which by the way, I probably won't be coming back regularly until December. You might see me here and there, like this for example, but beyond that, I'll be focusing my efforts in more behind the scenes stuff, management wise, and also I will be trying to boost up the hybrid sound project that we launched just because I don't want it to fail, obviously. But anyways, yeah. So also I wanted to say I am not stressed anymore. Thank you for everybody. Or it's not that I was stressed, which is well, obviously I was really stressed at the time and everything all coming together. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that extended, are you okay, or how it can help, or get better kind of thing. Made me feel like I was dying, to a degree. But all bad jokes aside, it was nice to have that type of support. So I do thank you guys. And yeah, so if you couldn't tell, this is how I think Marvel should pull off Captain America 3, which is the Civil War inspired film that they're going to be doing. Now, like I said before, I originally was going to make a video on Captain America 3. I actually made the stuff for it, I just never released it. And that's why I'm making this video, because I thought this was so ironic. Because in my video, I said they should take elements from Civil War, but the biggest thing was the fallen sun aspect, which is Captain America getting assassinated. So them actually doing Civil War, I just think is a treat for me. But yeah, let me begin. Let me go right into it. So obviously we have Captain America. He should be our main protagonist. He most likely will be. I don't see how he wouldn't be. He should have the pro-freedom angle. He should lead the fugitives, or the rebellion or resistance, whatever they're going to call it. Technically they'd be considered fugitives. I hope they, like they have been doing so far with the other Cap films, they showcase the fact that he still has his classic ideals. It's not necessarily that he's just very black and white with his viewpoint on things, but more so like he remembers what it used to be like versus now, and he holds on to what it used to be like. I do hope he gets assassinated at the end of the film, and I hope they do something with this character that they've never done before in superhero films, which is give the hero a legacy. The Nolan films hinted at this at the end of Dark Knight Rises, John Blake taking up the mantle of Batman kind of thing. But the chance they have here is for them to actually pull off a successful legacy, because a hero like Captain America obviously would have a large impact on the Marvel Universe as a whole, with his death. So, and the rumors have been there for quite some time that Sebastian Stan's the Winter Soldier will become the next Captain America. It's been very hyped up, especially because of the long contract he has, which is unusually large. It's the largest contract that they've had someone do since Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury, which is up to 9 films. So that's pretty impressive. That sounds to me like they might be passing on the torch, potentially. But one thing I want to see in this Captain America film is I want to see a lot of the social commentary we had before. A lot of the social commentary that was in Captain America 2 was a big reason that a lot of people enjoyed Captain America 2, because they could associate their own personal beliefs with what the movie was showing, with what the movie was saying. So I do hope that goes on, but I hope they don't go overboard with it. My biggest worry is that for characters like Captain America, and I'll get to Iron Man in a few seconds, but my biggest worry is for characters like Captain America, they're going to make him so far one way, you're either with him or you're against him. And it shouldn't be like that. There should be qualities to the character that you like and don't like. Like, I know he's supposed to be the Boy Scout of the Marvel Universe. That makes total sense. But at the same time, Boy Scouts aren't perfect. So Captain America's not perfect either. And with that being said, before we get to Iron Man, let's get to what I think should be Captain America's resistance team. Obviously Captain America is the leader. I think Falcon, that's a no-brainer, should be on the team. Hawkeye, Winter Soldier, Luke Cage, Sharon Carter, Daredevil, and Maria Hill. Now, the reason why I have these characters on here is because we know for a fact that Hawkeye will be in this movie. From what they've said, we know that Hawkeye was originally supposed to be in Captain America 2. And honestly, I don't see Hawkeye not siding with Captain America. Always in the comics, Hawkeye's always looked up to Captain America as like kind of like his hero, his mentor. Captain America, if I remember correctly, is actually what made Hawkeye want to be a hero in the first place. So I don't see them going against that whatsoever, especially from what it sounded like in the second movie. Even though he was following S.H.I.E.L.D. orders, he still allowed Captain America to escape because he believed in what Captain America was doing and things like that. Also, Captain America is probably, out of him or Iron Man for the Avengers, Captain America would be the leader. Hawkeye actually would follow more so than Iron Man. As I see it, Captain America would be more of the kind of behind the scenes leader, like a president, and the CEO would be like Iron Man, the more, outside type of guy, talking more with the press and all that stuff. Falcon, I think that's a no-brainer. Obviously, Sam Wilson seemed pretty dedicated to Steve Rogers' cause in Captain America 2, and people seem to like him a lot, so I don't see why they wouldn't bring him back. Now, Winter Soldier is where I think it'll get really interesting, mostly because if they do, as it's been rumored, go the Fallen Sun route, he would be instrumental, which is why I think for this movie they should really play up the relationship and the partnership and the bond more so than they did before between Winter Soldier Bucky and Captain America Steve Rogers. So when that scene comes, hopefully, that Captain America Steve Rogers gets assassinated, it won't feel rushed, it won't feel out of nowhere. It'll feel very organic, and it'll feel like a proper passing of the mantle kind of thing to his partner. Luke Cage and Daredevil I put in there because they do support him in the comics, and considering they're both getting their own Netflix shows and they should be done by the time Captain America 3 is out, I don't see why they wouldn't be included in there, especially if the set photos are true or not true. The set photos are real, that they have people like Agent Triplet and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters in Avengers 2. I don't see why Captain America 3 they wouldn't do that. Maria Hill also I put in there as Sharon Carter, because Sharon Carter, it's known she's going to be coming back, and also Maria Hill, and I don't see why they wouldn't follow Captain America by any means, especially people like Maria Hill. I think that'd be a really cool, not scene, but a very interesting moment to see her leave Stark, because she works for Stark now, currently in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think it'd be really interesting to see her leave Stark and join Captain America's side, because it really showed in Captain America the Winter Soldier, just how inspiring Captain America can be, and I think Maria Hill was a character that was very affected by the influence of Steve Rogers. So let's move on to Iron Man. He is, as far as I know, our main antagonist. That is something they need to play up. The reason I say they need to play this aspect of the character up is because never before in a comic book movie, and really in any movie franchise I know of besides like Star Wars, have we had a fan favorite hero become a villain. Now Star Wars did it a bit differently, but it's the same basic thing I'm going for here, where it starts off hero, ends off villain. Now what I want to see here is, I don't want them to, and I doubt they'd be able to do this anyways, but I don't want them to turn Tony Stark into a character that everyone just hates and immediately goes up against because he's the antagonist for Captain America. I want them to give him justifiable reasons, and I'll get more into that as you see my bullet points, but he needs to be pro-government. Now, this would be a massive, not changing character, but development for the character of Iron Man, because he's never been very serious in the movies. He's had moments of being serious, but overall he's never been very much serious, versus Captain America, who's most of the time serious. Now, the reason why the pro-government thing would be very interesting is because Iron Man, as we saw in Iron Man 2, primarily, was very against, not working with the government per se, but he was kind of that also, but he was very against what the government was trying to do, especially with superhumans. So, seeing him change side and support the government and the Superhuman Registration Act, that would be a very interesting thing for the character. Now, I think even more so, I think it's a kind of a no-brainer if he's going to be representing that side, I think it's kind of obvious he'll be leading the registration movement. I also think it's very important because Tony Stark as a person is a very public figure, and he has, in his own right, a lot of influence, just like Captain America has influence, just like any other celebrity has influence. Tony Stark has influence, even more so as Iron Man. He funded the Avengers, the saviors of the world kind of thing. So that has some pull to it, I would like to think. I would like to see Pepper die. Now, I'm not saying that's the thing that catapults the Superhuman Registration Act, but I would like to see Pepper die either in Age of Ultron or something regarding superhumans, which furthermore puts into Tony Stark's mind that superhumans need to be registered, essentially. And I want them to portray it that he doesn't think he's not trying to do it to, imprison superhumans, more so as to just protect people kind of thing. Like, they really do need to paint that Tony Stark's not doing this to be evil. He's doing this for what he thinks is the right way to protect everybody, because Tony Stark's a very broad person. I think Ultron proves that, and I mentioned that in my bullet point that says Ultron Legacy. I want the effects of Age of Ultron to really drive Tony Stark in what he's doing. Tony Stark has always been a very selfish character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Look back at everything he's done. A lot of his villains are products of his own selfishness and just his own behavior that wasn't responsible in any way. So I really want them to play up the fact that he's taking responsibility for his actions and for what his actions have done. Ultron was his creation in the Age of Ultron movie. So obviously he's going to feel some responsibility for the amount of people and, the damage Ultron causes. And I really want them to go into that and really use that as a driving point. Going with that, redemption, I think, should be not a key thing, but should be a part of the character near the end of this movie. If they do end the movie with the assassination of Captain America, because I don't want them to portray it where Iron Man wants to kill Captain America and capture him kind of thing, more so as he wants to help his friend see, the other way kind of thing. I hope they go that route, because that's less direct antagonizing and more so like you really have that gray line, because, some people probably will agree with Iron Man, this is the responsible thing to do with superhumans, versus the other side, which will be, that's restricting their freedoms, yada 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 yada. So all in all, I think it's a very unique opportunity to have Iron Man be the villain instead of the hero, and I just hope they play that properly, and they just don't, I just hope they're not lazy with it. And with that being said, I know the Russo brothers are going to be heavily involved with the story and writing all that stuff. I hope they have someone join them, like Jon Favreau, who knows how to write Iron Man for the MCU, because I think that would be very crucial to the character. Because I don't think Jon Favreau would let them just, write off Iron Man as some, evil goon, because he's the antagonist. Now, let's go to what I think should be the pro-registration team. Obviously, Iron Man's the leader. Vision, Crossbones, Hulk, Black Widow, and Iron Patriot. Now, the interesting thing here is that you would think Black Widow would want to be on Captain America's team. Oddly enough, she actually was pro-registration in the Civil War comic book, and also she's said to have a much more minor role in this one, and honestly the only way I could see her having really that much more of a minor role is if she's on Iron Man's side, who's the antagonist, and they're not going to focus too much on the antagonist supporting, team versus the protagonist supporting team, because they want you to care more about the protagonist than the antagonist. That's how storytelling usually works. The Vision, I think that makes a lot of sense, even though the Vision was anti-registration in the comics, mostly because, Tony Stark made him, and there's not really, I don't see a reason for Jarvis/Vision to really betray Tony Stark now at this point, not betray, but leave his kind of side, because from a logical standpoint, the Registration Act does make a lot of sense, and I think Vision would agree with what the Registration Act is trying to do. Crossbones, I put on here because it is confirmed that Frank Grillo is coming back. Obviously, he's instrumental as the one who ends up I think he should obviously be the one to assassinate Captain America in the movie. He has the motivation for it, obviously, from what happened in Captain America 2. And I'm sure he would love a rematch with Falcon anyways. Now, Iron Patriot or War Machine, but I feel like they'd probably go Iron Patriot because this is pro-government technically. Iron Patriot, definitely pro-government. I feel like that's just a natural, Rhodey would side with Iron Man, but I think it'd be really interesting if they made Rhodey their Spider-Man. Basically by that I mean he starts off as Iron Patriot, ends the movie off as War Machine. Now the reason I say this is because definitely Captain America's team could use the extra firepower, but if the rumors are correct that Captain America is going to be leading his own team later on, like a separate Avengers team, the rumors are that War Machine will be a part of Captain America's team. So this could be a very good setup for why War Machine's on his team and not like per se Iron Man's team. Now the Hulk I put on there because I feel like Bruce Banner, with everything he's gone through, he would definitely agree that some sort of registration act is appropriate, considering he firsthand knows just how much superhumans can cause in regards to destruction, loss of life, etc. There are rumors though that something's going to happen to the Hulk in Age of Ultron, so he won't even be a part of the picture anymore. I don't know how I feel about that at this moment. As far as I know, that's false, so I don't see why he wouldn't be in this movie, but there you go. That's really all I have. Furthermore, story-wise, I just hope they keep the central things from Civil War that drove the plot, like have something happen with superhumans that causes a lot of destruction. They could spin off of Age of Ultron. I don't know what they're going to go off of, but something has to be there. So the government wants to, promote more security regarding superhumans, which would be the Superhuman Registration Act, which would propel Captain America to voice his opinion against it, be labeled a fugitive. Now they did the fugitive thing in Winter Soldier, so I hope they don't overplay it again, more so as it's more of like a freedom fighter kind of thing. So yeah, overall, I just think this is a pretty cool thing Marvel's doing. From a storytelling standpoint, I remember, not storytelling, but from like a Comic-Con announcement standpoint, I remember years ago they asked them about Civil War and they said if they could do it, they would like to for like Avengers 4. So the fact that they're doing it for Avengers 3, I think is pretty cool. And if you don't believe me, check out the Kevin Feige interview from Comic-Con a few years back. I think it's like 2009, I'd want to say. But yeah, this is Josh, and you guys probably won't see me for a while, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.